This is In the Loop. I'm Christian Bryant. We'll get to those stories in a few, but first, we're turning our attention to America's streets. Look, I don't need to tell y'all to keep your head on a swivel when you're on foot or on two wheels moving through your respective communities. But paying attention to streets is becoming critically important these days because of how dangerous they've become for drivers, pedestrians, and bicyclists alike. We spoke to Beth Osborne, the director of advocacy group Transportation for America, to better understand the record-breaking number of both traffic deaths and pedestrian fatalities in recent years.
Over the last 2 years, fatalities for everyone using the roadways is going in the wrong direction. And we didn't start off in a good place.
Close to 43,000 people died in a traffic crash in 2021, according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, up from about 39,000 deaths in 2020. And trends for the current year show the problem is only getting worse. In 2022, early estimates from the NHTSA showed more than 9,500 people were killed in traffic crashes within the first 3 months of the year. The figure represents the highest number of first quarter fatalities in 20 years. Experts like Beth blame these deaths on a number of factors, including the recent rise in speeding and other dangerous driving behaviors, inadequate infrastructure, and roads historically designed for vehicle speed instead of safety.
We were coming up with ways to build big separated highways that connect cities, and we were making up standards for them, based on the best available information at the time. Often the road is designed for a higher speed than the posted speed, and humans are just very suggestible when it comes to design. People will always follow the design before they will follow the posted speed, which doesn't communicate with them as much. That sign only comes up periodically. The design is ubiquitous.
One critique from experts is that U.S. roadways are just too wide. Research shows road designs that include smaller block sizes, frequent street connections, and narrower streets can help bring down traffic accidents and fatalities. Adding elements like proper signs, speed bumps, curb extensions, and raised pedestrian crossings also bring down risk for people on our roadways. Experts say the U.S. needs to do much better on those elements, keep working to improve the overall quality of roadways, and revisit speed laws to bring them to a safer limit. These factors not only make driving more dangerous, but also puts bicyclists and pedestrians at greater risk. Each year, about 2% of fatalities in motor vehicle crashes are people on bicycles. U.S. pedestrian deaths in 2021 were the highest in 4 decades, with an average of 20 deaths a day, according to the Governor's Highway Safety Association. That's nearly 7,500 pedestrians killed last year, a 12% rise from 2020. Data for 2022 was not yet available, but experts say it has likely risen, just like overall traffic deaths. Research finds older people, people in lower income areas, and people of color have been disproportionately impacted by these fatalities.
People of color are more likely to have to move around without a vehicle. That is a huge expense to put on people. And because of the way we design our communities and our roadways, they often have to be utilized for people to go very short distances, even 3 or 4 blocks. And therefore, we design people's lives where every single trip, no matter how short, requires a car.
Experts say factors like the lack of adequate sidewalks, safety signs, and street designs also influence pedestrian deaths. So, how can we fix this issue? The Biden administration unveiled a national roadway safety strategy earlier this year with the long-term goal of ending roadway fatalities entirely. I'm talking 0. Through this plan, the administration hopes to facilitate safe travel by rethinking road designs and speed limits, as well as improving post-crash emergency medical care. More broadly, some experts also think increasing the overall walkability of American communities could help bring deaths down. Tell us more about this trend and possible solutions to rising traffic deaths in America. We're joined by Mike McGinn. Mike is the executive director of America Walks, a nonprofit which works to make communities across the country more walkable. Mike, thank you so much for joining us here on In the Loop.
Glad to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, of course. I mean, You have expertise in this area, so we are delighted to have you. We know that data shows a troubling rise in traffic deaths and pedestrian fatalities in America. Can you help us shed light on some of the reasons why this is happening?
You know, we have designed roads with a primary focus on the number of vehicles we can move through those roads and how fast we can move the cars. We design freeways to remove all obstacles, literally, and we ban pedestrians from walking on freeways. You can't bring those elements of design into places where there are lots of pedestrians present. We need a totally different design in those places, ones in which cars and drivers naturally go slower because other people are present. And so safe design of streets is the first thing. And then the second thing is the design of vehicles. Vehicles are getting larger. Their visibility is reduced because of the height of the hood or the size of the pillars, the A-frames. And so our vehicles they don't see people. It's harder for a driver to see people. And because they're so much bigger, when they hit someone, it's that much more dangerous. So both of those things, safer road design, safer vehicles, are where we need to focus.
In January, I know that you know about this, the U.S. Department of Transportation came out with its National Road Safety Strategy with the long-term goal of reaching zero roadway fatalities. Personally, it sounds like a very ambitious goal. Do you think that national strategy has the potential to reach that goal?
It's great that the feds are really putting that emphasis on safety because the numbers. It was welcome to see a new emphasis on safety. And people say safety first, but as we were talking earlier, they often don't really mean it. We might say the goal is too ambitious because it feels unrealistic, but what's the right number of people to die on our streets every year? That's what I'd ask you. What's the right number? It's hard for me to come up with a number larger than zero. And the fact is, there are places.
I think a lot of people watching this conversation may be trying to conjure up what a good example of a walkable community in the U.S. looks like, right? Because we see highways, we see roads, we see, we've heard the term, car first sort of thoroughfares and things of the like. Can you give us an example of a walkable community in the U.S.?
Hoboken, New Jersey. Year after year, they're improving intersections, improving local streets. They've met the Vision Zero goal. I think another way to think about it is, where's the places that have everything nearby? I think when we imagine the places we'd love to live, it's that place that has your shopping, has your stores, it has your transit bus stop, it has your coffee shop, has restaurants within walking distance. And those places exist, and you just need to add a little bit more to make them even more walkable. And the streets are narrow. They're not multi-lane arterials. They might be one lane each way. And the cars naturally drive more slowly there. So there's lots of places with the potential to be that.
One of the things that I mentioned to you, Mike, before we got started is that I'm a bicyclist in DC, which is not for the faint of heart. I've had a number of close encounters. Being a pedestrian here isn't always better either. What can people watching at home who might ride or walk around dangerous streets, what can they do to keep safe?
Obviously, I don't think we need to be warned to watch out for cars. In fact, think about that. I'm a parent. What do we tell our kids today? Watch out for cars. So we know what we need to do to try to be safe. I would say we need to talk to our decision makers and say, give us safe places. And people love the sense of being in community with others and that sense of vibrancy and life that comes to a street that is not dominated by fast-moving vehicles. And that's a policy choice that your local elected officials and your state departments of transportation are making. So I'd say raise your voices.
I like the idea of changing the framing about how we think about safety and what we say and what we mean when we talk about safety. It's not always just personal responsibility. It's also, you know, pushing on people up top to make these places safer for us, which is an important point here. And I'm really glad you got a chance to share some of your expertise. Mike McGinn is the executive director of America Walks, a nonprofit which works to make communities across the country more walkable. Mike, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.